Hi, I'm Lori Flaquer of Soltar Solutions, and I'm here today with Lisa Cortes of Bienvenido al Juego. Hola! And I'm so excited to be having Lisa here. We are going to be talking about traveling, moving around. We're going to talk about meeting new people, experiencing exotic locations, really getting the most out of those travels. So Lisa, tell me a little bit about your secret. Lisa's the best, I think I know, for meeting new people and just making all these friends. Like, she's somewhere 5 minutes and all of a sudden she has all these friends. She's hanging out in the group, she's getting drinks, she's doing this. I mean, it's just like, wow. So Lisa, what's your secret?
My secret is just not to be afraid. And I know that's really difficult, especially when you feel afraid. But we're all alike, we're all the same. Everyone wonders what everyone else is thinking. Just go up to someone and say hello. Believe it or not, that works. Say, hi, my name is Lisa. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And of course, who doesn't like to engage and be asked about themselves? You learn a lot about the person that you're asking the question to, and it opens up a conversation.
So give us a little bit more of a system. Say you're going to a country, you don't speak any of the language at all. You don't even know, you don't know any of the language, nothing. And tell me how you would go about doing it. How would you prepare?
Oh, initially, I would at least learn how to say hello in whichever country you're going to. Most countries are really excited that you're there to visit. They know that you're there to spend some money, that you have interest in the culture. So even if it's a simple hello, even if it's a bad hello, everyone appreciates your effort in doing that. And then second off, observe people. People are really good at giving telltale signs. See how people interact. Some countries are a little more reserved. They're not so touchy-feely. Other countries are really touchy-feely, so you can go up and shake their hand. So really observing people is a really important part of getting that connection. And then, like I said, just go up and say hello.
I'm always really interested in doing some research beforehand, because I feel like then I have an idea. Like when I went to Thailand, I had no idea you couldn't touch a child on their head. You should never touch anybody's head when you're in Thailand. So, normally you would do that. Oh, what a cute little kid. They're like, oh. So learn about that. And also you shouldn't show the bottom of your foot. So you have to be careful when you sit up, or, even if you're like in a train traveling or something like that, you have to make sure that your foot isn't pointing towards another person. It's these things that you really don't, think very much about.
In Bali, when you go into a place of worship, you have to have your shoulders covered. And in addition, and this might be a little too much information, but if you're a woman and you're on your cycle, you also shouldn't go into a temple. And these are really important things to keep in mind, because when you travel, you really want to respect and get to know the culture of where you're going, because it's going to enhance your experience and it's going to be very respectful toward them.
So when I went to Japan and I saw all these shoes lined up outside of the temple, I was like, what is, and they have little boxes that you put your shoes in. And I was like, this is really interesting. So I go up and I'm like, do we go in here barefooted? How do we do this? Because it's so hot, you're not wearing socks. And they have these little things that you put on your feet. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds good. And that's how you can go into the temple. So it was pretty interesting. Yeah. So, saying hello to people, I think that's really good. Another thing is, I think it's really good if you practice charades. Before you go. Point. Because sometimes if you don't understand the language, it's going to be quite like charades. And people are also, I notice, really friendly when you come up and you have a smile and, you're like curious and you want to know more about them. I think that's a huge part. And not going in like everything should be the way I expect it to be. Just experiencing and allow yourself the freedom to understand, what is this? Like, what's the culture? What are the traditions? What are the things? What's the food? How do they go about doing things? Like there's a guy, we're in Morelia, Mexico, and there's a guy walking around ringing a bell. No, we have no idea where this guy keeps walking day after day, all day long around with the bell. So Lisa's like, well, maybe he's collecting the trash. First I thought it was maybe the time, but he's not coming the same time every day. So I'm like, oh, that's not working. So we still don't know why this guy is walking through the streets ringing this little bell.
I will find out before we leave. I don't know if you can hear the bells. There they go now. I'm definitely going to go find out what those bells are about.
Exactly. It's amazing. And here it is. We really got to know what that is. Lisa, that's your job.
That's my
You're
job
going to have
today.
to find out. And then what about experiencing new cultures? Like this culture isn't a new culture for you because it's your culture, but it's a new culture for me because the Mexican culture is very different than most people think. If you know Latin American culture, you know Mexican culture, and it's not true at all. Each one of the cultures are different. So I learned a lot about Mexican culture here, and I found it to be really interesting and fascinating and warm. And it's like I met somebody. A minute later, the woman is giving me kisses on the cheek and holding my hand and telling me how nice I am and how much she enjoys meeting me. And it's like, wow, and it's not phony. She really means it. Inviting me, I've been invited to so many houses. Oh, you have to come and stay with me. Come to my vineyard, come here, come there. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm into it.
And that's actually very true of the Mexican culture, but every culture that you go to has ways in which they connect. And so again, observing what it is or reading up and learning about different cultures and what their practices are. Here in Mexico, one of the things that we learned in interviewing one of the event planners at Morelia and Boca that we came here to practice is that here in Mexico, you don't do business straight off the bat. If you find a contact of someone that you want to do business with, you really have to engage and connect. They want to know all about you. I know it's true of me personally. I want to know where you came from. What are your interests? How is it that our businesses are going to connect? What is it that you value? What are your passions? Because this helps me find out more about you, where we connect, how we can do business together, and also to get to know a little bit more about your personality, which, believe it or not, is a huge part in doing business, especially when you're networking and connecting multiple cultures. Because everyone wants to feel as though they're welcomed, everyone wants to feel understood, and everyone really wants to feel as though they're not going to do something wrong. So here in Mexico, it's really important. Ask about the children, ask about the husband, ask about the wife, if it's the husband that you're speaking to, and just really sort of get an opportunity to know who it is you're talking to and what's important to them.
So we had an opportunity to speak with some farm of them during the Morelia and Boca Festival. And one of the things that came up was patience. You have to have patience. Normally in the States, when you do business, it's, you have 2 meetings and you're pretty much doing business because you wouldn't get the second meeting if they weren't interested. But they mentioned here it was like 7 meetings. And they get to know you, they get to know your family, where are you from, all the different things about you. And it becomes like social. And then you have this relationship, they become very loyal, and eventually you're doing business. But there's a lot of back and forth, and we met so many people from so many different cultures here, and had an opportunity to talk to them about how it is to do business in Mexico, how it is to maybe distribute wine and other types of spirits. And it was really fascinating because we got many different perspectives on the same question.
We really did. And it was really exciting to see how many different markets were here. Mercedes was at the event, Delta was at the event, Food and Wine Travel was at the event. Can you think of any more outside global markets that were here? Oh, Riedel Wine Glasses was here because it was a wine and food festival. So just start to think about how it is that you can participate in global markets, in networking, in building a community around your product or service, because really we're getting smaller. And just like the Mexican culture, really building network relationships, building community, building closer relationships is what's really taking our success forward in the future in our businesses. What do you think about that, Lori?
Well, I think if you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be doing business with people in other parts of the world from my office in St. Paul, my small home office in St. Paul, I would not have believed that I would have clients I have had a client in Dubai, in the UK, in Canada, in Thailand, in so many different places. I probably wouldn't have expected that I would be able to do business like this. And the reason I came to the festival was to meet people that were making Mexican wines. So the wineries and the people that own them. And I was shocked at how receptive they were to the ideas that I presented, even just in the first meeting. So I think that we might not be thinking that we have that global power and that global reach, but in reality, we do. And I'm doing business in a foreign country when I do my retreats in Dominican Republic.
Absolutely.
And now you are doing global media.
And that's what I would like to do. And one of the things that Lori and I have come together to do here in Morelia is really take the business savvy that Lori has and help people build their brands and market their products. But one of the things that I'm really good at in connecting and bienvenidos al juego is social media. It is the #1 way people are watching more YouTube than they are regular television or regular methods of, of media. I'm so sorry about that. I'm gonna drink a little bit of water. Cheers. The fun part of being live.
It's okay.
But of social media, because Twitter, I mean, I've been able to contact, one of the things we're going to talk about in a little bit, being able to take advantage of opportunities. We came here from Morelia and Boca, and I'm leaving here with an opportunity. I've been invited. I'm so sorry. I've been invited as a guest, a media personality, to interview some of the golf players here in Mexico, because one of my other life and passions is playing golf. And I am the golf diva. And through Twitter, I've been communicating with the Mexico PGA, and they're having a tour in Guadalajara this coming week, and that's where I'm traveling to next. So social media is a really important aspect of how we're connecting.
Are you okay? Okay, good. Have some more water. So it's amazing because so many people that were at the event, you know, at first we were going to people and inviting them to be interviewed, but then people were coming up to us, what are you doing? You know, who are you interviewing for? And it was really fascinating that people were so open to be interviewed, to tell their story, to talk about their product, to talk about what they're doing, and also to share their concept of the cultural differences and how they can do business with those cultural differences still being celebrated. It's really about celebrating the other culture, not giving up your culture, but celebrating, being educated, educating, and coming to, I mean, I think it's like coming to an agreement that you're going to both be different, but you're going to be different together.
Exactly.
Is that it?
I think completely. And one of the other really fun things is to see how innovative we are, because everyone is innovative. The American culture, the US culture has really found effective ways of doing business. They understand marketing. They understand all of these things. Here in Mexico, we're really innovative. We still are a people who cultivates the land, who lives by the timelines of spring, summer, fall, winter. We're really interested in eco-friendly products. And so all of these things together, it's really fun because you're like, oh, well, how do you do that? And so really being able to share and build and help each other grow is really important. And one fascinating fact about Mexico, and I'll get the specific numbers, but we have a huge population. And so companies that are looking to build a network with Mexico, this is a great time. The middle class has grown faster than any other country in the world. And again, we're innovating products. We're really learning how to market and make use of our resources, our natural resources that are here. And of course, the most important, because we're all thinking about this, is being eco-friendly and using those resources that we have wisely. So it's really great to partner with people from all over the world in order to make these things happen for the entire world.
The other thing that I would notice was the big companies are here. The water company that was at the festival is owned by Coke. As Lisa mentioned, BMW. There's global companies here, and they're doing business, and they're doing very well. Another thing that I found really interesting, if you're interested in coming and doing business in Mexico, the way that we advertise in the US is probably not going to work, because their advertising and the culture of the people is very inclusive. It's not at all confrontational. So ads that are very confrontational are not going to do it. So you really need to understand the natural flow of the culture and the people and the way they go about doing things. And it's very inclusive, very warm, very inviting. So the type of ads that we're using in the US probably are not going to make it. So it's a good idea to hire someone who knows the culture, who's going to be able to really massage your message and adjust your brand in the way that it really delivers the message that you want, that motivates these people, brings them in closer and embraces them and the way that they do business, the way that they run their life. So that's very important to maybe consider having, and that's one of the things I think that we bring. Lisa understands the culture, understands US culture, I understand US culture, and I understand Latin American culture, maybe not this culture, so it's not such a, a big bridge for us to cross.
Yeah, and that's a really valuable point that you bring, because everyone here is used to doing things together. They're used to bringing their funds together in order to create a better collective result. They're used to including their family. We had one Casa Madero winery, and it was really cute because the mother and the father were there supporting the winemaker and the company where they're being able to grow and make their wines. It is an entire connected community. It isn't just one person who says, hey, and then if they have something that can help the next winemaker or the distributor, they're equally interested in helping that distributor or that other winemaker succeed, because it is a collective community group.
Funny you should mention Casa Madero, 5th generation winemaker, and when the mother, who's probably the owner of the company, I'm sure, introduces the owner of the company, it's her son. And how old do you think Oscar was?
Maybe 22 or 23.
Yeah, that would have
been my guess.
She said, well, you have to speak to my boss. And we were waiting for the boss, and she's like, this is the boss. Look.
And it was her son.
He's so cute.
But it's very much in the respect and the honor, and the Oscar was very, very much the winemaker and really taking this family's generations of wines to the next level. So we really have to understand that in the Mexican culture, age doesn't matter. There's really caste systems doesn't really exist here. We really collectively come together in order to bring our businesses to fruition and success.
So another point that I think we should bring up is we interviewed an owner of a company she's a distributor. Her name is Gina Hendricks. Gina Hendricks, and she has, I can't remember the name of the girl, girl doing business or girl at work or something like that, but we can get that, but I'll put it in the show notes. But, we asked her, what is it like doing business in Mexico as a woman? And remember her answer?
Yeah. Very much my experience. She said that it was no problem, that she came here thinking that perhaps there would be some macho cultural differences, and yet she feels she's very accepted, that she has equal footing, if not even sometimes upper hand. And I find that to be true in my upbringing. My mother was very much the head of the household. My father respected and listened very much to what my mother had to say, and in fact even went off of some of her ideas. In my relationships, I know I run my household. Don't tell my husband. No, but it's really a respect for the power of women, and there are a lot of political leaders here in Mexico that are women. So I was really happy to hear that it was her experience as well.
We were able to meet the governor of the state and his wife, who was from California. And it was really interesting to watch their interaction. Very important man, governor, lots of things going on, and everyone is around him like, oh, he's a very important person. And he looks to her, all the time. And I saw it, I captured it in photos, the way he looked at her like, almost like they had a very silent communication, but obviously she's very, very important to him. And she was right there with him, and the Secret Service was with her, and it was just really nice to see.
Yeah. It's a really great place even to build, because our relationships, again, even between spouses, are really important to just bond and be there and be supportive for one another.
So tell us about, what do you think that entrepreneurs might be able to learn from what we're talking about, the culture that we see? What do you think that they could take, maybe even to their networking groups?
I think that, well, there's two aspects here. From the Hispanic or Mexican entrepreneurs, there's so much to learn using networking aside from social, because we do sometimes get very caught up in the social end of it, and to realize that there are opportunities. And in the American culture, when we go to these networking events, we're looking for opportunities to grow, develop, and build business relationships, which is fantastic. Here in Mexico, we are also looking to do those, but sometimes we get lost in the personal relationships, which is great. Now we're blending those. Now we're really understanding that these networking events can be social and they can be business building. So I think that's one thing that the Hispanic community can learn. Again, the American culture, as we mentioned before, being patient, understanding that you don't just go start talking business right away. Get to know the people that you're talking to, get to know about their families, get to know what their interests are. Music is really big. That was one of the really fun things at the event, was this very loud music, and everywhere we go, and it's so funny because I'm not used to it anymore. And so it was really interesting. I thought, oh yeah, I remember I used to listen to really loud music back in the day. And so it's just kind of really fun. And so for both cultures, there's a great way to network, there's a great way to learn, there's a lot more we can do, but there's a lot of opportunity here. And I'm mostly excited about bringing these collaborative global market efforts together. Mexico's doing a lot of work with China at the moment. And in America, I don't want to get left out. There's great opportunity. Yeah. We've always had a wonderful relationship with Mexico, and we're working on building stronger relationships and routes of being able to import and export. But so much of what we do is on media now. So much of what we do may not necessarily be a physical product, but really be enhancing the products or the services that we provide. So
it's connection. It's connection. It's all about connection. So let's talk a little bit about social media.
All right.
So you're running your business quite extensively through social media.
Predominantly through social media. I use YouTube heavily. Twitter at the moment is my favorite. Facebook is wonderful. And the thing is that there's new social media outlets coming out. You're going to have to find the best social media. Some lend themselves more readily to your type of business, but it's really important to understand how alive and connected you are instantly to the people who are running these businesses. You have direct links to people that never before would you be able to connect with unless you get through the secretary and the, everyone who's sort of trying to get you from there. Really, business is starting to come to be. Connect with exactly the person you want to connect with. And the number one way to do that is through social media.
So what you're saying is with social media, you can bypass the gatekeeper?
You can bypass the gatekeeper, absolutely. I've gotten responses directly from business owners who want to meet with me, who want to invite me to their events, just like this, the golf tournament of Tecate in Guadalajara directly invited me to their event to interview some of the golf players because I've been communicating with them via Twitter for several months now. And so I think that's pretty exciting. You get yourself where you want to be. You put yourself in alignment with your business and your goals and your plans. And I want to have fun. I have spent my lifetime working diligently and very hard, and now it is time for me to have some fun. And I am loving the social media. I'm loving connecting. I'm loving picking up. Part of this was vacation. I really intended this visit to start off as a vacation, and then it turned into business. And so it's very exciting. It's been very effective, and I have made more connections on this visit than I have spent hours on the phone trying to get a hold of these people on the regular telephone.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's amazing. I love social media because it's another opportunity for me to be speaking to people all over the world. Like I have friends all over the world. For instance, Bob asked me who Emmanuel was. And I was like, Emmanuel in Ghana?
Ghana?
He's like, yeah. I said, oh, he's a heavy hitter. Somebody who just graduated from college. He's already working with international organizations to bring young entrepreneurs in Ghana and help them to be better at having business and to encourage them to start their own businesses. And he's just out of college. So it's really interesting, the people that you meet on social media and you become friends. And I know I get invitations, I'm sure you do.
Absolutely.
Oh, come on over and do this and let's see this. I mean, just like this, here I am in
Morelia. I would have never thought of all of my friends and people that I'm close to, that the first person who would come and visit my hometown is you, Lori, and I'm so grateful for that. And it really does mean a lot to me. I mean, our business relationship has helped our personal relationship grow, and now here we are together in Morelia, Michoacan, having fun, doing business, growing our business, and growing our
and doing a little show together. Just awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? We met actually on social media.
We did meet on social media. That's true. I hadn't thought of that.
I just
Great
thought
point.
Yeah, that's how we met on social media.
That is. So these relationships that you can build are just amazing. Imagine where you want to go. What is it that you want to do? My husband has recently retired, and we want to travel the world. We've traveled extensively already, and we want to do a lot more traveling. We want to teach people how to connect, how to network, how to ask questions. That's really the most important. Asking questions and taking action, and then using the feedback in order to progress, because everything isn't always perfect, and it doesn't have to be. Little steps are important. Don't freak yourself out with the big steps. And then when you're ready to take those big steps, sometimes you're taking them before you even know them, because you made the effort to take the little step first.
All right, so now I'm going to hold your feet to the flame.
Sounds good.
Three tips on how to use Twitter for the newbie.
Goodness. First and foremost, think about what you want your tagline to be, because when you sign up with your email, Twitter initially gives you a URL, which is a link that you can link to all sorts of things. So you want to think about that, because it doesn't always, usually it is your name, but you can change it to personalize it. Thank you, that's the word I was thinking of. Personalize it so that it's also in alignment with your brand, because Lori's going to teach you about branding. Very, very important to get your message clear. So that's one. Two, about Twitter, talk about everything, personal and business. It's important to really connect. And three is don't be afraid to contact the places. Look at the places that you're interested in doing business with.
So Lisa, tell us a little bit, just like 30 seconds, of diversity and inclusion.
Diversity and inclusion is really important. We're all diverse. We all have different backgrounds. It doesn't just have to be your heritage. It doesn't have to be your status. If you grew up on a farm, you're totally different than the person who grew up in the city. You both have something to teach each other. Inclusion means finding out, asking. There's a woman at my work, she does the cleaning from our building. I have learned so much from her about how to do business. And so just ask everybody everything. We're really in an environment where it doesn't matter anymore. We really have to connect and find out what everyone else wants to know and needs to know.
Thank you so much, Lisa. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for being here. Lisa Cortes, bienvenida a Juego. This is Lori Flaquer, Soltar Solutions. Check out my YouTube channel if this is where you're seeing it, or maybe you're not. Check out my website, Success with Soltar. I'd love to see you there. Take care, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Please, if you have any comments, there's any ideas or anything you'd like to share, maybe knowledge you have about other cultures, please put it in the comments so we can all learn from each other. So thanks so much and have a great day.
Bye, and find us on social media. Bye.
Bye-bye now.